Okay, so it seems like a lot of people are coming on, so I'll go ahead and start talking a little bit. So today we're going to do these midterm reports. So this shouldn't uh, take super long because you guys are limited to 3 minutes each. I'll let you guys kind of each group kind of go and let you kind of do it however you want to. Just please do keep in mind that I will cut you off if you start talking for 5 minutes about a single slide. It's 30 seconds per slide, 6 slides, 3 minutes max. Okay. And then for the final presentation, we'll actually limit it more. Well, not limit it more, but we'll actually do these Pecha Kucha presentations where you're basically forced to have your slides timed. So kind of keep that in mind that this is kind of practice for what we'll do at the end. I hope you guys are enjoying kind of working on the projects. The next couple months here, we're basically gonna finish the projects up over the next 4 weeks or so. And then at the beginning of June, we'll have another one of these meetings and we'll actually have some people from the embassy and everything to kind of watch your talks, and we'll record it and send it to them too. But basically, in about a month, we'll finish up all these projects and do the final presentations. And then in the meantime, we're actually going to start the in-person.
Hello, everyone.
Well, hello, everybody. So then we'll start the in-person part of the programs. Hopefully, you're excited about that. Everybody's going to be in Chicago here in about a week and a half. And that should be interesting. Some people here. So that should be interesting. You guys haven't been to Chicago before, so hopefully you guys are all excited about actually seeing each other in person. And then we have everything, we're setting everything up for all the US students to come to Korea. So we have the hotel set up and we're organizing a bunch of things with Samsung and Coupang and a bunch of different companies. You guys are gonna get to visit the US Embassy. So that should be kind of cool and meet with some diplomats, a bunch of things that are not available to the public. So should be pretty interesting. But we'll start off with that next week in Chicago. And I know Rafaela is organizing all that stuff. I don't think Rafaela's on here today. But she's organizing all that stuff. And so you guys hopefully will have a cool program there in Chicago as well. They did last year. And I'll mention some more stuff about it here at the end. Why don't we go ahead and start and do these midterm progress reports, and then we'll kind of we'll talk a little bit more at the end. But we have just a few weeks left here, so this kind of midterm progress report is kind of what you guys have been working on and what you're going to do here before the end of the program. And then all this stuff's going to get turned into the embassy. And just to keep that in mind for all you guys, they requested all these last year, all the reports and everything, and they read through them. So there's a chance here, at least a tiny little chance, that you guys can have a slight little impact on the world, just a little bit. Okay. So hopefully you're working hard because we want to impress the US government so they give us money to do this again next year. So no pressure. So why don't we just start with group number one, and because that'll make it easier. We'll just kind of go in order here. So group number one, if you guys let me change the screen here. Okay, you should be able to share your screen and start your presentation. So
We start now.
yeah, you can start whenever you're ready.
Hello, we are Group 1. As you guys know, the use of fossil fuels has a direct impact on climate change, and as its uses increases exponentially, it has become important to predict and control it properly. Accordingly, our group seeks to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy and to explore practical ways to respond to climate change by predicting the demand of renewable energy and CO2 emissions. Next slide, please. To do this about reliable data sources, we wanted to understand CO2 emissions from fossil fuels such as coal and oil and their consequent impact on climate change. In addition, we tried to reflect the trend by using data on the production of usage of renewable energy and non-renewable energy. Also, we went through the process of checking the current policy of Korea and United States through the climate policy database.
So our hypothesis one is we're trying to see if there is a difference in the rate of change of CO2 emissions between the two countries. As you can see, the mean values for South Korea is a little slightly above the United States. And between the year 2000 and 2009, there's a significant decrease in the CO2 emissions because that is a great recession. And after that, South Korea has increased dramatically because that is when the South Korea surpasses $1 trillion GDP. And so we are trying to see if there is a significant difference, and the test concludes that there is a slight significant difference between the two countries, and the potential factors are energy policy, industrial growth, and renewable energy adoption. Next slide, please. So here we have provided a wall cloud visualization for the two countries, and there are majority of sectors are overlapping between the two countries, while the five sectors are not seen in the South Korea side. Those sectors are agriculture, fluorinated gases, industry and nitrogen dioxide, negative emissions, and rail. So what we conclude, these factors should be concerned with the South Korea side in the future. Next slide.
All right, so now we look at the algorithms that you are going to be implementing. Firstly, we are going to be implementing artificial neural networks or convolutional neural networks. This is for the renewable energy and the CO2 emission forecasting, and then multilinear regression models or boosted trees or any other models which will help us for feature selection and influential variables. So we'll identify variables that are actually having an impact, and then we will try to maximize our CO2, maximize our renewable energy and minimize the CO2 emissions. This is what we are going to do. We are going to create a dashboard. This dashboard is going to be interactive, and with the dashboard, there is going to be an API setup. The API just takes all the latest data sets of CO2 emissions, creates a forecasting model, and then it also goes through to optimize the renewable energy by feature selection. Yep, and these are going to be our deliverables for the particular project. Next slide, please. Yep, thank you so much.
Okay, very nice, guys. You guys are right on time. That's like well done. I heard you guys talking very fast, but perfect. Because we'll have to do something similar for the final presentation. Being succinct when you're presenting is always good. I have a bad habit of that as well. But focusing and talking about what you're going to do is always good. So very nice. I like your plan, everything. I think it looks interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what your final product looks like here in a few weeks. So looking forward to that. So very cool. So a little bit about climate change there. So comparing Korea and the United States, that'll be an interesting project. So then group 2, you guys are looking at climate change, but also kind of political instability. So do you guys want to share your slides?
Okay. Hi, we are team 2. Team members are Swati, Corey, Junhyang, Eugene. Our team project is political instability due to climate change. There are a lot of things are related to political instability due to climate change, but we focus on the food security. The background is investigating the impact of global climate change on political instability via food insecurity. What is included in food security and climate impact? Crop productions in food security and temperatures, precipitation, CO2 concentrations are in climate impact. We think there is a correlation between climate change, food security, and political stability. Now, EDA, we have 6 data sets for the project: World Food Supply, World Guardians Index, Annual Surface Temp, Mean Sea Level Rise, Food Security, climate change. All data sets are based on control level. After that, this slide what will explain.
This is the planned flow of our work for now. As we go through this plan, we would go back and make necessary changes, especially in the modeling section, and include any specific data that we might need later on. Next slide, please. For now, we're mostly deriving our insights from climate change and with respect to crop production and internal political stability factors at the country level, so that we can make recommendations for foreign and domestic climate policies. Next slide, please. For now, our next steps would be to perform feature engineering to integrate the current data that we have, followed by model design and application. We would circle back to these steps and perform multiple model designs and applications so that we can find the optimal model, and also to make sure that it wouldn't just be a one-time analysis and it can be reused. And based on the models, we will frame our solutions. This is what we have for now. Thank you. Any questions?
Okay, very good. I don't have any questions. If anybody else has questions, though, feel free to ask in other groups if you want to. I don't have any questions in particular, mainly because I'm going to take what you guys are doing right here, might see you writing some notes, and I'm going to look at your actual proposals, and I'm going to give you all the feedback in writing so that you can kind of look over it. So you guys I can expect you'll basically get feedback about this and the written proposal probably next Friday, probably when I'll get it back to you guys, so that you can hopefully incorporate that a little bit into what you did. But good. Okay, I think that looks interesting. So obviously a kind of climate change, but a little bit slightly different topic, looking at how that influences sort of political stability. So very good. So why don't we move along to group 3, and they're working on disinformation campaigns in social media, so fake news. So
Should we start then?
yeah, start whenever you're ready.
Hello, this is DSKUS Team 3, and we focus our study on misinformation related to social media used in different countries, such as authoritarian states like China. The recent development of online social media help people to easily share information, not only the appropriate ones, but also the biased. And for this project, we propose to focus on the comparative studies of fake news dissemination in social media between authoritative and non-authoritative countries, China and USA in particular. And to address the topic, there were several prospective research questions, like what are the types of fake news we can encounter today, and what are the differences between the two countries, and how does social media from two countries play differently in spreading the fake news. And for one of the data, we used Twitter dataset to represent the USA, and we used label data from 3 different sources. And 2 interesting observations from the EDA was that tweets with true labels had higher average word counts and had more links embedded into the posts. And the word cloud shown on the slide shows the frequently used words in the fake news.
For the Weibo post, the data came in its raw form, so we had to translate the information from Chinese into English to utilize any NLP algorithms that we had. And we did that using the Google Translate API. but this yielded consistency issues, and another solution is needed, such as algorithms that work directly on Chinese text, or we need manual static translations. Within the Weibo data, one noticeable feature we found was between the correlation of reposts and likes when comparing fake and real news. The correlation within fake news is significantly higher between those features. Based upon the initial data exploration, there were noticeable trends between user activities such as post and like frequency and fake news classification. There were similar trends with post sentiment and text semantics, such as longer posts and posts with higher sentiment scores, both being less likely to be classified as fake news. After our data exploration of both data sets, we had 4 main categories of features selected to quantify the characteristics of fake news, which were topic, sentiment, linguistic, and user engagement features. And we plan to conduct an in-depth analysis of these selected features and further analysis to obtain answers to the established hypotheses earlier. And then one possible solution is to develop a web application that functions over both Chinese and English fake news.
Thank you.
Very good. All right. Thanks, guys. Very right on time too, actually. So nice and speedy. So, but I get what you're doing. It looks interesting. Obviously, the Chinese English things obviously going to be a challenge. I deal with this all the time, trying to translate between Korean and English and stuff, and using Papago, and the translations are never exactly the same. But Chinese, I imagine, translating into English is going to present a whole host of problems. They have a lot of Korea does this too. They have a lot of idioms they use, and like when you translate them into English, they don't really mean anything, but they actually mean a lot. Same way we have idioms in English that don't mean anything in other languages. When we say like, you know, like 2 ways to skin a cat. I was trying to explain to somebody in Korea a couple weeks ago what that means, and I was like, the hell does that mean, and why do we say that? Because that actually sounds horrible. Why would you skin a cat, and why would you need multiple ways to do it? So yeah, lend me your ears. Yeah, so they have a lot of those in Korean and Chinese as well. Actually, some of them have leaked over from Chinese into Korean. So I know some Chinese like idioms now, and I'm like, what? Right? There's what is it though? What's the one? I'm trying to think, what is that? Ojo Samosa. 3 monkeys in the morning, but 4 in the afternoon. I don't know what it means. It means you're gullible, or something like that. But it's a Chinese proverb. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Yeah, Corey, lend me your ears. That's a good one as well. So idioms are fun. So you guys will probably have lots of fun with translation challenges. So that'll be cool. So very, very nice. Well done. So then we'll move over to Group 4 then. Group 4 is looking at, we have a couple groups working on these projects because this is something that's kind of a big deal for the U.S. Embassy and the U.S. government, and also the Korean government right now, which are these global supply chain issues, which we all know from COVID and from the war in Ukraine and these other things. It's kind of a problem right now. There's been a lot of disruptions and the global supply chains, and like now you can't, like, you know, can't find chips to build cars or phones. There was no toilet paper for a while in the United States, so it's a big problem. Anyway, so the next one is Group 4. So why don't you guys take over from here and talk to us about what you're going to do about fixing the global supply chain issues.
Hello everyone, my name is Nawaz Sharif. My teammates are Julissa, Youngho, and Esther. The project that we are working on is mitigating disruptions in the global supply chain. As we all know, the global supply chain is an interconnected network of businesses and organizations that work together to produce, distribute, and deliver goods for the consumers around the world. As we all know that there have been many disruptions like in the past, such as pandemics, economic recession, natural disasters, etc. By taking several data sets that we have found, we are going to analyze how the demand and supply changes with the disruptions occurring. And one of the goal of a project is to identify how the demand and supply works, like what are the time frames when the demand increases and what is the time when the demand also decreases. By using the data sets that we have, we will create a data-driven approach to mitigating the impact of supply chain disruptions, which may involve predicting modeling such as forecasting, as so that organizations and companies know what's the time and when they should be ready to manufacture more, or when they should avoid doing it. On our analysis, we found that there were industries that has benefited and also suffered. For the benefited industries that we found are e-commerce, semiconductors industry, medical supplies, as they were all in demand. And some of the industries that were suffered are tourism and transportation, and also the manufacturing industries, as there were lockdowns imposed and they couldn't actually manufacture anything. And also energy industries, as oil and gas were not in demand, so they would have to sell in low prices. And some of the economical indicators used to analyze are CPI, which is Consumer Price Index, stock market indices, GDP, unemployment rate, and etc.
Yeah, here are our future plans, analysis, modeling, and deployment. We have 20 years of data. Initially, we will divide it into 4 to 5 periods to prevent confusing patterns from overlapping, which is referred to as Simpson's paradox. And then through additional EDA and statistical tests, we will identify common data patterns during past disruption situations across different periods. These patterns will be used to predict potential disruption situations in the near future. Next. For this part, we will build machine learning, deep learning, and conventional time series models such as ARMA and SARMA to predict supply and demand for different industries. We will compare the prediction output to the common patterns mentioned in the previous slide. This will allow us to prepare for future disruption situations. Finally, we plan to share our analysis and modeling results to users through an interactive dashboard. With just a few clicks, users can easily access real-time import and export data graphs for each industry. The dashboard also informs users of the probability of a disruption situation occurring in the near future. The dashboard will offer a lot of convenience to policymakers, business leaders, researchers, and others. Thank you for listening to our presentation. Sir, we can't hear you.
Yeah, okay, very nice, guys. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, very nice. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Of course, you guys have the fun if there's one project topic that is being worked on by 2 groups. So you guys have a little bit of competition. We'll the other groups all have like a project to themselves, but 2 groups got the same project because the embassy wanted it that way. So we'll see what you guys come up with, and no pressure, but a little bit of competitiveness to see who comes up with more interesting solutions, or maybe complementary solutions, perhaps. So very good. That is mitigating supply chains, and then the next one, which is probably one of the trickiest ones, but an interesting project nonetheless, is trying to figure out who we should provide foreign aid to. So if we start giving foreign aid to other countries or other organizations or individuals, like how exactly should we distribute that foreign aid in order to make it have the biggest impact and provide the most benefits? So that is group 5. So let's share your screen.
Okay. Hi, we are Group 5. Our project is to provide targeted, responsible foreign aid. We are going to introduce our project in the order of project background, data sets, current progress, next steps, final goals. Next slide, please. First, for the project background, we found that US government has spent about $50 billion per year for foreign aid. But from the papers, we found that many mixed view of foreign aid exist, like skeptical or positive analysis. So from the project name, we wanted to figure out what would be targeted responsible foreign aid throughout the process.
We have 3 data sources where the data is going to come from. First, US foreign aid data will come from the World Bank. Second, economic development indicators, which include poverty, unemployment, and inflation, will come from the OECD. Lastly, additional data for countries will come from UN. Next slide.
Yeah, in terms of the current progress, we are at building the modeling part. We started with building a unified data set, which consists of the foreign aid and the economic development indicator. Later on, as part of the EDA analysis, we tried comparing the US aid with other development indicators, and we basically came up with a hypothesis that US aid certainly has an impact on the indicator. As part of the next step, we tried to basically somehow cluster similar countries together so that the foreign aid can be targeted in a more suitable way so that it has a bigger impact and I would say quantifiable impact instead of bigger, because we have to provide a targeted US aid which benefits to the US Embassy. Next slide.
In next steps, we'll differentiate 2 flows in one dataset. First is unsupervised learning and supervised learning. We'll do some kind of clustering with USA categories or another aspect, as suggested before slides, using K-means or other models. We'll do supervised learning, that is time series forecasting of USA to these 4 data. It would be combined analysis with one pipeline of project. After that, we can make decision for next. In summary, how and where to give foreign aid is very important problem, but it is very difficult problem. But we suggest 2 approaches to deal with both questions, how and where to give foreign aid. After we build the model and get decisions, we can give the actionable insight to US Embassy from data science fundamentals with the form of dashboard. This dashboard will suggest the where and how to target foreign aid, and the targeted foreign aid from US Embassy would make the world the better world. Thanks for listening.
Okay, very nice. Okay, very cool. So obviously it is a tough problem. That is probably one of the trickier projects to work on, is trying to figure out how exactly to donate money in order to have the biggest impact. So but all the projects are tricky in their own ways. So we'll see what you guys come up with over the next few weeks here at the last part of the project phase, and we'll see what the end result looks like. So curious to see. So that brings us into our last group, and that is group 6. They are also working on the supply chain issue. So why don't you guys tell us what you guys have come up with, what group 4 is doing. Well, let's see what you guys have.
Hello everyone. We're group 6, and our topic is vaccine distribution optimization, preparing for the next pandemic situation. The given topic of our group is mitigating disruptions in the global supply chain caused by the continued COVID-19 pandemic, and we thought that the best way to do so is to optimize vaccine distribution so that the whole world can recover from pandemic situation as quickly as possible. In bibliography, we found papers saying that richer nations focus on rolling out vaccines to their own populations, so vaccine acceptance rates were low in African countries. In global perspective, it was unequal distribution, and this led to emergence of Omicron variant and many other diseases. So we got a new question. If another pandemic happens, how can we optimize vaccine distribution in global perspective?
So for the EDA, we merged the vaccinate dataset and the trade dataset. As you can see from the heat map, we found that the number of export and the trade balance were above 0.3, this indicating that there is a possible correlation with vaccination. By plotting the line graph, you can see that both number of vaccination and exports increase and decrease together. Therefore, this result shows that the number of vaccination is related to export.
The first step in our project is collecting the census, manufacturing, and the import and export data. After that, we will bridge the gap between the data sets and analyze trends where we will output the details about manufacturing unit of vaccines, develop population weights, and also the allies aspect where we will see how many deaths could have been reduced if two countries came together. And the last step is creating an interactive dashboard where vaccines can be sent by manufacturers, the deficit in vaccine manufacturing units, and how to prepare in case of another pandemic based on what the user specifies in the dashboard.
So we have three main data sources. First, looking at vaccine manufacturers. This is where vaccines are being produced, what kind of vaccination, and how many can be produced annually. Then we're looking at the population count globally, but also looking subnationally. This includes like provinces and state level data to get more information from the World Bank. We're looking at trade data, exports and imports between two different countries. This is a way to model the political allies between two different countries, how good of friends they are. And we'll use additional sources such as the average age, percent of smokers, et cetera, to fine tune the model. All of that is available through the World Bank. And then maybe the next slide. To expand the scope, we thought about how to make this a more sustainable solution. That includes an interactive dashboard so users can adjust the model to fit their needs. We hope that policymakers would use this to identify areas where they should strengthen ties or perhaps build new manufacturing sites to be more sustainable. And we're thinking that similar models could be used for other types of products, not just vaccinations, but anywhere where you want to have a global scope and understand how you should distribute them equitably across the world. The presentation. Thank you.
Okay, very nice. So I see a little bit different perspective there of global supply chains, looking specifically at vaccine distribution, but that's an interesting angle because of course we all know we all have lived through COVID, so we all know how that impacted everything very dramatically. So yeah, Haiju there, Dr. Tong there from IU is saying good job. So, but yeah, really nice job. I think you guys are really on a nice track. Of course, this all happens very quickly. So one thing that you guys should all realize is we really just have the next few weeks to finish everything. So there is some work to be done. And then the first week, basically in a month, first week of June, we'll have our final all-class meeting, which will be the final presentations, which will be recorded and given to the embassy. And then there will also be a written report that we'll have you guys put together, and we will give that to the embassy as well, which will be passed on from the embassy to the U.S. State Department, so to the U.S. government, and potentially shared with the Korean government as well. So maybe a little bit, some of these ideas you guys are coming up with, just a little bit, will have a little bit of an impact on the real world. Maybe some diplomats or whatever who have, decision-making authority will be like, oh, that's a good idea. So we'll see. But it's important for all of us to, because we're going to start having kind of, I guess, fun, although I think data science is fun, but we're going to have actual real fun in person. So, but we do need to keep in mind, we got to finish these projects up because that's kind of the deliverable that we give to the embassy and to the State Department, and we want to do a good job and we want to impress them so that they keep doing this every year, so there's opportunities for students next year as well. do this. So, but so kind of keep that in mind that we do have a responsibility to try to really show off our skills to the embassy and to the U.S. government as well. So with that, all that said, let me just kind of sum up some things here, and we'll get back to our lives, I guess. So the project proposal, which is a written project proposal, there's a description of it in the syllabus, which has now been updated on the LMS, but that is due on Wednesday. Keeping that in mind, so normally things are due on Fridays, but the Korean students will all be on an airplane on Friday and probably horribly jet lagged by the time they arrive in Chicago. So it's been moved up. So we're going to have the project proposal due this coming week on Wednesday, Seoul time, and then the Korean students can kind of get everything together on Thursday before they have to fly to Chicago. After that, then, so do make sure you have that turned in. I will incorporate some feedback from all your presentations into that, along with whatever you write. And then you guys will all, the Korean students will show up on Friday. Hopefully the IU students, I'm not sure, but there's money in the budget for all you guys to also come to Chicago. You don't have to be there on Friday. You can wait, come on like Sunday. I think, I haven't talked to Rafaela, but they usually try to do this boat tour on Sunday. Okay, well, depends on when you show up, but they do try to do this architectural boat tour on Sunday, which is kind of, if you've never been to Chicago, it's kind of cool. The Chicago architecture.
We will either do it on Sunday or Monday afternoon, depending on the weather.
Okay. Yeah, so the boat tour, so that's Dr. Stan there from DePaul. So Ilias, if you'd like to call him Ilias. But the architecture tour is pretty cool. They take you on the river and everything. But then after that, I think Raphael's putting the schedule together. I know it has not been published. I asked Raphael about it yesterday. She said she's working on it. So hopefully she will tell me, but probably Monday through Friday, there will be various activities. Maybe Friday, not so much. Maybe some stuff on Friday morning. We'll see. But last year they went and visited Microsoft. They went to Google. They had people come and talk, like Home Depot, and they went to IBM. So a bunch of different activities, you know, and stuff that'll go on that week. So that's pretty cool opportunities. Then after that, everybody will go home and we'll kind of get ready to do the final presentations and stuff. And then in about a month, on June 15th, all of you guys are coming to Korea. And we are all set up for that as well. So we have hotels for everybody who will be here. We're going to arrange all the transportation. We have stuff set up with you where you guys will meet, like get a tour of campus. We're going to send you to the U.S. Embassy one day. We have Samsung Research coming. So the VP of Data Science from Samsung is coming, and they're going to talk to you guys about, I think, some healthcare stuff that Samsung is doing. I don't know exactly. And then we're going to also send you guys to HP Korea, and we're sending you guys to Kupang. And Kupang, for the American students or the students from the US at least, if you're not familiar, Kupang's kind of like the Amazon of Korea. It's like a big retailer, like internet retailer. It has like Coupon Play, which is like Amazon Prime kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. So it's a pretty big deal. So you guys will get to actually go there and go into their offices and meet with their data scientists and all that stuff. So that should be pretty cool. And we're also going to send you on a tour when you're in Seoul. So we'll also send you to see the palaces and some city walls and stuff. We did that last year. Pretty cool. Get some free food, and it's just hang out for a few hours. So it should be pretty cool. So we're setting everything up. So we will have all these activities coming up, starting basically in a week. We'll start the Chicago portion, and then 4 weeks later we'll start the Korean portion. There's a WhatsApp group. You guys should all join the WhatsApp group, because we will use that when people are traveling to communicate rather than using email. So, and also people last year, that's also how we shared a lot of photos. So it's kind of like a sort of a memory of the experience with everybody. So it was a lot of fun. So take lots of photos and post them to the WhatsApp group, please. Okay. Okay. So are there any questions about anything before I let everybody go? Do you have any other questions other than the ones been asked?
Could I ask just for the trips, is the dress code like professional or just like business casual or?
I would say business casual. I mean, it's not too strict. I mean, I remember last year, I think Gerardo like wore a kind of a suit to go visit Coupon, but it's not really necessary. Just business casual. I mean, don't show up in like your Megadeth t-shirt, and flip-flops, but just wear like, I mean, some khakis or even some nice jeans and maybe a nice shirt. Business casual. Yeah. So it's nothing too fancy. And when you come to, I mean, you never know what the weather's going to be like either. When you get to Chicago and Seoul actually are in the same latitude. And so we both have this kind of bipolar weather where you don't really know if you're going to need like a jacket or you're going to be sweating and it's going to be humid. It could go either way. So, it'll probably be, I guess by late June, it'll probably be warm in Korea, but not hot yet. It usually doesn't get hot until July. So, but it'll be warm-ish. So, but casual dress code, business casual. No Megadeth t-shirts, no Nirvana hats or flip-flops. Okay. You will be in photos too, so you want people we will take a lot of photos as groups and like when you go places, so you also don't want to embarrass yourself by looking like you just rolled out of bed. Any other questions before I let you guys go? Good. All right. Well, for the Korean students, you'll probably be getting emails from me over the next few days anyway about just any final things for the trip, because you need to make sure we have everything ready so you can get on the airplane. But otherwise, nice job, everybody. I thought the midterm presentations actually looked pretty good, so I'm encouraged. I'm looking forward to seeing the final projects you guys come up with in a few weeks. Hopefully you guys are all excited to go to the Chicago, or at least to welcome all these people to Chicago. For those of you who live in Chicago right now, you guys are the host for the next week. So hopefully show everybody a good time while they're there, and see you guys all back in Korea. So I will talk to you guys later. Everybody have a nice evening, or for those of you here in Korea, have a nice day. Since you probably just woke up. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Right.
Thank you, Casey. Have a good day.
Yep. Thanks, Elias.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Cheers.